of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier to be or not to be. With the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualified for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Egypt are through to the World Cup. Egypt yesterday defeated Djibouti 3-0. So Egypt are through already. Morocco are also through. Morocco were already through before the international break. Morocco are through to the World Cup. Tunisia are through, and then Egypt are also through. And Ghana are just 1 point away from the World Cup. The Black Stars of Ghana are 1 point away from the FIFA. The Black Stars of Ghana are 1 point away from the 2026 FIFA World Cup that will be hosted in USA, Canada, and Mexico. So, with the Super Eagles of Nigeria join them. With the Super Eagles of Nigeria join the likes of Egypt, Morocco, and Tunisia at the World Cup next year when the World Cup is made. Only time will tell. But the Super Eagles of Nigeria are playing Lesotho today in a must-win match. The match against Lesotho today is a must-win match, and then the match they also play on Tuesday, 4 days later, is also a must-win match. The Super Eagles of Nigeria must record victories in these matches, at least to stay competitive in their group. They have to record victories in these matches, and also hope for the best from other group. They should hope for the best from the matches in the other group, but they have to face this match first and win. And then yesterday we were hearing that CAF declared yesterday that the bottom place teams in the groups, like when considering the teams that will go through the playoffs, the teams that will qualify as one of the 4 best runners up, that the bottom place or the last teams in the groups will not be considered, because Eritrea withdrew from their own matches, and then the group of Eritrea, the group that has Morocco, and then the matches with Eritrea were not played. So in consideration with that, when considering other teams that will qualify as one of the 4 best runners up, so they will now, as in the points acquired against deducted. In our own case, for example, the group of Nigeria, that's Group C. Zimbabwe is the last. Zimbabwe is 6th in the group. They are the last team in that group. They are 6th. And when we played against Zimbabwe, we recorded 2 draws in their home. It was a 1-0 draw. And when they came to Nigeria here as well, it was 1-0 draw. So when considering our own now, the result against Zimbabwe, it means that 2 points will be deducted from our own points. Assuming Nigeria wins their 2 matches now, and they finish with 17 points, and then we have to go through the playoffs. I'm just citing an example now. If we have to go through the playoffs now, it will mean that 2 points amassed against Zimbabwe, the 2 points we garnered against Zimbabwe, will now be deducted from the 17 points, and we have 15 points. So that's the new thing that we heard yesterday now. But then, we don't know how far this will really be affected, but that's what we heard yesterday. But as it is now, the Super Eagles of Nigeria must win their remaining matches, as they have to win against Lesotho and in Benin Republic, and against Benin in Nigeria. We also have to win, and we not only have to win, we have to really win convincingly. Like take a look at Benin Republic. The last time they hosted Lesotho, they defeated Lesotho by 4-0. When it comes to the caliber of players, the array of stars, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have got it. They really got players. Even take a look at the new invitee, that the Akko guy that was just invited for the Super Eagles. He scored the 4th goal for his club, Sevilla, against Barcelona. That's the Spanish La Liga match that was played last week Sunday, the match day 8 in Spanish La Liga. He scored the 4th goal for Sevilla against Barcelona. So it shows that Nigeria has the quality. We've got the quality. We've got the stars. We've got the names. But so what's stopping us from scoring? What's stopping us from taking a cue from Benin Republic and defeating Lesotho like that? Who says they can never even defeat Lesotho? 5-0. Everything goes to new. We've got such quality. Talk about a player like Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, who is the current African Footballer of the Year. There are so many there. Ademola Lookman, Moses Simon, Samuel Chukwueze, Alex Iwobi, who is doing well with Fulham. So we've got quality in our team. So what stops us from also taking a cue from the Republic and defeating Lesotho? We can defeat Lesotho. In our matches, in the previous matches, the Super Eagles have played in the World Cup qualifier, they struggled to score goals. They really struggled right from our first game against Lesotho. That was our very first match in the World Cup qualifier against Lesotho, and we hosted them in Nigeria. Lesotho were the first to score. They scored in the second half, and 11 minutes after, the Super Eagles also equalized, and it ended 1-0. That was our first match against Zimbabwe. The same narrative, 1-0. Against South Africa in Nigeria here, when South Africa came 1-1, the same narrative. And against Benin Republic, that was our fourth match, away from home, 2-1. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been finding it difficult to score goals. We need those goals today and against Benin Republic, so that at the end of the day, when it comes down to goals different at the top of the table, I mean, we'll say we have done our best. You know, at the end of the day, we'll be able to stand as one of the contenders, wide open for the best in the remaining group matches, as I said earlier. But we have to do our own part. You know, what if the result of the other matches now go? What if the result of the other matches favor the Super Eagles of Nigeria? And at the end of the day, God forbid, I'm just saying, and at the end of the day, we cannot win our own matches. You know, as it is now, it's not that we have our destiny in our hands, but we have been, and the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been handed a lifeline, at least from the 3 points deducted from the Bafana of South Africa. From the 3 points and the 3 goals deducted from Bafana, we've been handed a lifeline. If not for the 3 points deducted, people will not really look forward to this match. Most people will not anticipate this match, if not for the 3 point deduction. But the moment 3 points and 3 goals were deducted from the Bafana, I mean, so some Nigerians now have hope. Not everyone anyway, but some have hope, some don't have. But at least there's an array of hope now. There's an element of hope now because of that deduction by FIFA. So we have to do our own part by winning our own matches. You know, at the end of the day, it will not be good, or it will not be pleasant that the result of the other group matches, the remaining matches in the group will not favor us, but we cannot win our own matches. I mean, it will not be palatable at all. So we have to do our own bit by winning our matches, by winning Lesotho, and not only winning, by winning convincingly. I'm wondering, I remember our match against South Africa, the one that we played, the 1-0 draw. The commentator was saying something that Nigeria is really missing a player like Kanu Wako, a playmaker. And it's true, Kanu Wako, I mean, in the days of Kanu Wako, Kanu will sit on the bench, will come from the bench, and come and change the match. Kanu will dribble his way inside the box. And then there's something about Kanu just falling down. When you fall Kanu Wako down, you know that you have a penalty. And even if you don't fall him down, he will make those mesmerizing moves that at the end of the day, Nigeria will score. And the commentator had to say that in our match against South Africa, that the Super Eagles are missing the likes of Kanu Wako, who could take the ball to the defenders, who could, you know. So I'm just wondering why we cannot score goals. Like, I'm really wondering. You know, our first match against Lesotho, we struggled. It was a 1-0 draw. Against Zimbabwe, away from home too, the same narrative, 1-0 draw. Bafana came here in our third match, the same narrative, 1-0 draw. Against Benin Republic, our fourth match, when we thought that we were really having it, you know, we scored first, and when we thought that, oh, at least this time around, it's going to change. What happened? Then they equalized, and they also went ahead to win us. Our fifth match, okay, it was only our fifth match that we defeated in the qualifiers now, in the World Cup qualifiers now. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have won only 2 matches, and those matches have been against Rwanda, in Nigeria here, and also away from home. So we have won 2 matches now in the World Cup qualifiers. That's the Super Eagles of Nigeria, winning only 2 matches and having 5 draws, you know. So, and in all those matches, what can be observed is that the Super Eagles of Nigeria are finding it hard to score goals. Whereas today we need the goals. We didn't need the goals today. We need the goals today. We need the goals against Benin Republic. As I said, if Benin Republic could defeat Lesotho 4-0, what stops Nigeria from defeating Lesotho with the quality of players we've got? We can also do that. We should also do that. So we have to face our own match first, and we have to face our own match and win while hoping for the best in the group. And talking about Nigeria qualifying for the World Cup, we may actually qualify. There's nothing impossible. In fact, watching some documentaries lately, I've been watching some documentaries, and I said it before in one of my programs, the Korea Japan 2002 World Cup. Before that, we did not have our destiny in our hands at all. Our destiny was in our hands. It was the final match. The Super Eagles of Nigeria needed to win even if we won our match in that final match, we were not going to qualify. Our destiny was not in our hand, even if we won our own match on that particular final match. Liberia had the support of George Weah, had their support, in all aspects, in terms of financing, everything. They had their support, and Liberia were ahead in that group. And then all they needed to do was to win their own match against Ghana. I think it was against Ghana. They needed to win their match against Ghana and qualify for the World Cup. That was what was needed. They had the advantage of playing at home, win your match, and go to the World Cup. And whereas the Super Eagles of Nigeria also had one match, you know. But what happened? What happened at the end of the day? Liberia lost that match. They lost the match, and the Super Eagles won their match, and we qualified. And then when we go to the World Cup, we had players like Julius Agawa. That's why I'm saying that, look, Nigeria in the past used to have the quality when it comes to goal scoring. Because I'm wondering what is really happening now. When we go to the World Cup, there was always a Julius, because yesterday I was watching a documentary on TV yesterday, and they were talking about Julius Agawa. I needed to see. I mean, some of us know Julius Agawa, some don't know him. But for the benefit of those who don't know Julius Agawa, that Julius Agawa used to be. In fact, if Julius Agawa, anytime Julius Agawa was on the field of play for Nigeria, you could easily predict that Nigeria would win or would score through Agawa. And that was what happened at Korea Japan World Cup. Watching the documentary yesterday, there was a Yobo Joseph who played in the right back position, gave him the cross. Agawa always positioning himself well. I mean, Agawa was always well positioned. He just headed in the ball into the net, and of course, he celebrated with his signature acrobatics. You know, and it was so delightful watching that yesterday, watching Julius Agawa yesterday. I mean, that's the Super Eagles we know. And it's not as if we even did well at the Korea Japan World Cup, because it was Adebayo and Ibide that took us there. But we didn't perform badly at all, because they took a relatively a relatively new set of players there. And then that was what brought about players like Vincent Enyama, the goalkeeper. Julius Agawa was very fantastic, you know. And he scored. I mean, you could easily predict that he was going to score, and he did not disappoint. He scored, and of course, he celebrated with his signature acrobatics, with his somersaults, and that is characteristics of Julius Agawa. I mean, I just want our players to play that kind of delightful football once again. Watching the documentary yesterday really brought one joy. It gave me one kind of joy. And I didn't watch it alone. I watched it with some set of people. And it was really fun watching Nigeria, watching Agawa with his acrobatics, as in scoring goals. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that World Cup that he scored, and he did not only score in that World Cup, because prior to that World Cup, there was a Nations Cup. I think it was Mali 2002. He also went there and he scored for Nigeria. Agawa scored and scored and scored. And we also got to the World Cup. He went to the World Cup as well. And he scored for Nigeria at the World Cup as well. And then brilliance. So that's what we want to see Nigeria again. That's what we want to see from Nigeria. And then, as I said earlier, look at what the commentator said when we played against South Africa the last time. He has to say the Super Eagles were missing a player like Kanu Wako. He even called him a playmaker. Kanu Wako, so mercurial with the ball. And with his deft touches, he would just take the ball to the defenders, bring him down, and then you have a penalty kick to your detriment. That is Kanu. We need that creativity in the Super Eagles again. We need players who will position themselves well and go and score goals. And we need the creativity. In fact, we need a lot of things. What I'm saying is that we must get the goals today against Lesotho. The Super Eagles of Nigeria must score against Lesotho today. We made our debut at the World Cup in USA 94. I'm talking about USA 1994. Those set of players that went, they were relatively new. Talk about Rashidi Yekini. He went to the World Cup. We played our first match against Bulgaria. And then, when talking about Bulgaria, remember Stoichkov. Some people say Stoichkov against Bulgaria. Nigeria against Bulgaria at the USA 94 World Cup. And then, of course, Rashidi Yekini scored the goal. What did he do? He went to the net and he was shouting his name. Oh my God, I said, go and watch the documentary. We have not watched it, but the benefit of those who have not seen it. And he was shouting his name, talking about Rashidi Yekini, shouting his name because he scored and it was so fantastic. Against Bulgaria, we won. I think against Greece again, we won our match. And in the quarterfinal, in this round of 16 against Italy had to defeat Nigeria through inexperience. We're not really experienced. So they used their own experience to defeat us. It took their own experience to defeat us. We were able the first to score against Italy in that match before they defeated Nigeria by 2-1, I think. That was an amazing edition at the USA 1994 World Cup. And even when we got to France 98 World Cup, because we went to the World Cup back to back, we went to the France 98, and even Korea Japan back to back 3 times in a row. Talking about the Korea Japan World Cup, that's our second appearance at the World Cup. Before we went, the Super Eagles played friendly matches and they lost. In fact, they lost nearly all the friendly matches, losing to Germany, losing to Holland, losing to Yugoslavia, and losing by wide margins, except for maybe against Germany that they lost by 1 goal to win. But when they got prior to that World Cup, pundits wrote them off. Pundits wrote the Super Eagles off that they were not going to make it to the World Cup. They didn't say that they were not going to make it to the World Cup, but obviously they didn't give us a chance from the group that had the likes of Spain was in our group. Paraguay was in our group, and of course Bulgaria was in our group. Although we defeated Bulgaria 3-0 at the USA 94 World Cup, but then the form we had then going to the France 98 the form we had going to the France 98 World Cup was not the same form we had when we were going to the USA 94 World Cup. So they did not even give Nigeria a chance in that match. And that's one thing I like about Nigeria. Write them off at your own detriment. Write Nigeria off. Although I want this set of Super Eagles to really prove all of us wrong. You understand? Or prove us right. Anyhow you want to see it. But what am I trying to say? When I went to the France 1998 World Cup, they didn't give us a chance. And in our first match against Spain, Gaba, I think Gaba Lawal, or was it Victor? I can't remember. I really can't remember. But I know that Sunday Olise scored the third goal for Nigeria in that match. It was a long range, beautiful shot by Sunday Olise. But they wrote Nigeria out before that tournament. And in the second match, Nigeria defeated Nigeria 1-0. And we had 6 points from that group. And like 3 goals to 1. But when we got to the round of 16, what happened? Nigeria against Denmark. Denmark didn't even allow Nigeria to settle down in that match. As Nigeria was starting the match, the days were just coming. And they defeated us by 4 goals to 1. So that was our second World Cup. Korea-Japan World Cup, that was our third World Cup. And then at the Korea-Japan World Cup, we couldn't get to the round of 16. We exited from the first round. But then we're not disgraced. We're not disgraced at the Korea-Japan World Cup at all. We're not disgraced. Against Sweden, we lost 2-1. I think we were the first to score against Sweden, but we lost. But we're not disgraced. We even played against the likes of England in the first round. And it was a goalless draw against England. And then Vincent Eyama was brilliant in that competition. That was our third World Cup. We couldn't make the 2006 World Cup, but wait for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. I'm talking about South Africa. That was the last time they also went to the World Cup when they hosted it in 2010. So you can imagine how this qualifiers is so dear to them, because the last time that they went to the World Cup was in 2010. That was like 15 years ago. 2010 was the last time Bafana went to the World Cup. It was when they hosted it. So that's why this one is so dear to them. When we got to the Korea-Japan World Cup, we couldn't make it beyond. I can't remember whether we made it beyond the first round, but we got there. But I remember that there was a particular match. Yakubu Ayepele had the chance to score for Nigeria. It was it was so close. Like he had the chance just with the net. It was just with the net to put the ball inside the net, and then it's another thing entirely. He missed that opportunity. I remember that it was at 2010 World Cup. So we went for the 2010 World Cup. 2014 World Cup was in Brazil. The Super Eagles also went. They got to the round of 16, and they went to the Russia 2018 World Cup as well. In the Russia 2018 World Cup, I'm really sorry if I'm not really getting all these things right, but I'm just trying to let you know that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been to the World Cup 6 times, and then we missed out of the World Cup in Korea, in Qatar, the last one. But even our performance at the last World Cup, at the last qualifier that we missed, was even better. As it's not even like this one, because that one, we got to the very stage that we had to play playoffs, and it was everything that played the playoffs. It was not only Nigeria, all the teams played the playoffs, and our own was against Ghana. And the mistake we made was that when we got to Ghana, when we got to Accra, we couldn't score. That was the only mistake we made. We went to play a goalless draw with them. That was the only mistake Nigeria made in that qualifiers. And it's not as if we played badly. We didn't play badly. We went there, it was a goalless draw. And then they came to Nigeria and they scored. And they qualified ahead of Nigeria on the away goals rule. That was the only mistake Nigeria made. If only the Super Eagles of Nigeria had scored a goal there, obviously the narrative would have changed. Perhaps we would have gone for the World Cup in Qatar. But our performance there was not this bad at all. It wasn't this bad. It wasn't this bad. In fact, somebody was saying that since he has been following Nigerian football, that this is one of his. I don't like using some words, but you understand what I'm saying. That since he has been following Nigerian football, this is one of his not so nice experience in the World Cup qualifiers with Nigeria. That I can't even understand what is really happening in these qualifiers. But we just hope for the best for Nigeria today against Lesotho. So a short of my story is that the Super Eagles of Nigeria must score goals today. We have to score goals very well. We have to score goals because at the end of the day, if the other matches of this group favor Nigeria, if the results favor us, and then they are not comparing results, they are not comparing. You should be able to have something to show for it. You understand? At the end of the day, it's not that the other result have favored you, and they are not asking where is your own, and you cannot even win your matches. So it won't really be nice. You have to win our own matches. Talking about Nigeria in this group C, as I said, The Super Eagles of Nigeria have only 2 wins from 8 games. And then looking at Lesotho, the last time we played against them was in 2023 in November. They came to Nigeria here. I mean, they put up a good performance against Nigeria. And they scored first, and after they scored, Nigeria also scored, and it ended in a 1-1 draw. I remember I was watching a program yesterday. Was I watching, or I was reading, and I was reading something, I was reading a magazine, and somebody was like, you don't know anything. Lesotho, you want to play Lesotho, they'll pack the bus. There's no way you score them, you draw, they'll pack. Yeah, but there are teams that have packed the bus in the past, and then we've seen exceptional performances from extraordinary players. You know, their individual brilliance have been able to make difference. And that's what I was talking about Kanu the other time. That Kanu Wako had a way of getting his way past defenders. If you like, pack all the balls in the world. If you like, put all the bosses together. Kanu will find his way around you. You go and score. And even if he does not find his way around you, there will be opening that at the end of the day, somebody will score as a result of what Kanu has done, as a result of his expertise. So that's why I'm saying that even if they pack all the balls, our own is to do our own work. Like, that's where individual brilliance matters. Individual differences, individual brilliance, that's where it matters. Like coming in, making a difference, using your exceptional talent to make a difference on the field of play. That's what matters. So whether they pack the balls or not, a quality team, a team that has exceptional talent, to be able to go around and just score those goals. So looking at Lesotho, in this World Cup qualifiers, they've had 4 different goal scorers, and here are the 4 different goal scorers. Motlomelo Mkwanazi, all these names, Leonolo Fotoani, Retabile Razetonsa, sorry if I can't pronounce them very well, and Jane Tabanso. So these are the scorers, these are the goal scorers for Lesotho in this ongoing qualifiers. I'm talking about the player that scored against us when they came to Nigeria. The Lesotho player that scored against us, his name is Motlomelo Mkwanazi. And then in this qualifiers, apart from scoring against Nigeria, he also has 1 assist. So overall, he has 2 contributions to the goals scored by Lesotho in this tournament. He has 2 direct involvements in goals scored for Lesotho in the World Cup qualifiers. That's talking about Mkwanazi. And then he scored against Nigeria in November 2023 when we hosted them. Now looking at Group C, looking at the standings, and before I go to the standings in Group C, in these qualifiers, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have won 2 matches, drawn 5, and lost 1. While Lesotho have won 2 matches, drawn 3 matches, and lost 3 matches. Now looking at Group C, in Group C, Benin Republic top the group. They have 14 points and they have a goal difference of +4. South Africa are second. They have 14 points and they have a goal difference of +3. The Super Eagles of Nigeria are third. They have 11 points. They have a goal difference of +2. Rwanda are fourth. They have 11 points and they have a goal difference of 0. Lesotho are fifth. They have 9 points and they have a goal difference of -3. And Zimbabwe are sixth. They have 4 points and they have a goal difference of -6. So in this group as it is now, Rwanda also fancy their chances. Even Lesotho have 9 points though, but they fancy their chances because at the end of the day, they may even have 14 points. They may have 14 points at the end of the day. They are going to play against us. And then, okay, the result of I don't know, the teams that they are going to play against are not here. But I know that Benin Republic will play against Nigeria and Benin will play against Rwanda in their remaining matches. South Africa will play against Zimbabwe and South Africa will also play against Rwanda. Nigeria will play against Lesotho and Nigeria will play against Benin Republic. But what I'm trying to say is that even Lesotho in this group still fancy their chances of going to the World Cup. Rwanda fancy their chances of going to the World Cup, just as the Super Eagles of Nigeria fancy their chances of going to the World Cup. So the first 5 teams in this group still fancy their chances of going to the World Cup. I'm talking about this World Cup. I said it earlier. I said Egypt have already qualified. Ghana have only 1 point to qualify. Talking about teams that are showing us how to that are really teaching us how to do it. Teams like Ghana. Look at Ghana yesterday. Ghana defeated Central African Republic 5-0, 5-0. That's what I'm saying, that the Super Eagles of Nigeria should take a cue from all these teams. Should take a cue from Benin. Should take a cue from South Africa. Should take a cue from Ghana. Ghana yesterday defeated Central African Republic 5-0. And they have just 1 point to qualify for the World Cup. Only 1 point though. They should just drop their game by. They are in the World Cup. That's talking about Ghana. They only have 1 point to go to the World Cup. Whereas Egypt have qualified. Yesterday, Egypt defeated Djibouti 3-0. Mohamed Salah scored a brace in that match. And when you go to the start for the scorers in this World Cup now, Mohamed Salah have 9 points. Sorry, he has 9 goals now. He's the highest goal scorer and is the all-time goal scorer in the African qualifiers for the World Cup. That's talking about Mohamed Salah. He's the all-time goal scorer. He has nine goals now in this World Cup qualifiers. He has 9 goals. He scored a brace yesterday. Talking about a player that will do it. Talking about a player performing well for club and country. And we know what Salah does for Liverpool. We know what he does for his club. So talking about a player that does well for club and country, Mohamed Salah, he has 9 goals now. He's the highest goal scorer in the World Cup qualifiers. He has 9 goals, followed by Dennis Bwanga. Dennis Bwanga of Gabon has 8 goals. Jordan Ayew has 7 goals. He scored one of the goals yesterday. He has 7 goals. Kamori Doumbia of Mali has 6 goals. Mohamed Amura of Algeria has 6 goals. And Michael Olunga of Kenya has 6 goals. So this is the stats now for the World Cup, for the goal scorers of the World Cup. So as I said, can you imagine yesterday Ghana defeated Central African Republic 5-0. You know, so if Ghana could do that, Nigeria can also do that. We've got the quality. Ademola Lookman, the African Footballer of the Year. Victor Osimhen, the immediate African Footballer of the Year. And then the Galatasaray talisman, doing well for his club. Look at what he did against Liverpool. Yes, he scored the penalty against Liverpool in the Champions League. But before the penalty, see what he did. As in, it was so brilliant. It was so fantastic in that match. So, and we have Victor Osimhen. Just as Egypt has Mohamed Salah, we also have Victor Osimhen. So we can also take a cue from all these things and score high goals against Lesotho today. You know, we don't want to hear all those stories that really, you know, we really want them to play very well, because at the end of the day, if we get to qualify for the World Cup, you know, we are going to be meeting the likes of Argentina, Brazil, and then all those things that have also qualified for the World Cup, Japan, Argentina, Brazil. And you know how these countries play. They play quality football, tactical football. And then if we really want to, I'm just saying that at the end of the day, if we qualify for the World Cup and we get to meet all these things, it's not the way we are playing now that we're going to go and play against them. Except you don't want to crash you don't want to go out in the first round. And it's not even about going out in the first round. Except you don't want to record all those high score line like we saw with the Flying Eagles against Argentina at the 20 World Cup. We didn't even see that one coming. The Flying Eagles against Argentina, they are 4-0 defeat to Argentina. Fine, we knew that in the World Cup they've not been convincing, but losing 4-0 to Argentina, we didn't see that coming. So what I'm saying is that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have to up their game. They really have to bring in their A game, step up their game, and then play very well, because eventually at the end of the day, if they qualify for the World Cup, this is not the kind of game they are going to play at the World Cup. Except they want to get out from the group stage, and not even getting out of the group stage, losing by wide margin, which we don't want. They have to play very well, step up their game, and bring in their A game into this into the games against Lesotho and Benin Republic. So Nigeria needs to win the matches against Lesotho and against Benin Republic and hope for the best. South Africa will take on Zimbabwe today by 5 p.m. Nigeria time. The same time the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be taking on Lesotho. Bafana will also be playing. So to be or not to be, do you think the Super Eagles of Nigeria will qualify for this World Cup? I mean, already some people still have hope. Some people are really optimistic, but they still have hope that Nigeria will go to the World Cup. Some people, some real optimists, they have hope that Nigeria will go to the World Cup. Why some people, you know, they are here and there. They are not so certain that Nigeria will qualify for the World Cup. But at the end of the day, we want the Super Eagles of Nigeria to win their matches convincingly. You know, there's a way you play, and you be like, at the end of the day, I've done my best. Somebody was talking about the playoff routes when I was watching a TV program, and the person was like, if Nigeria would do that, it doesn't even wish that the Super Eagles should go through the playoff routes, because it's always very complex. You know, all this traveling to go and play this thing, play that thing. It's always very complex. You know, that she doesn't wish Nigeria to go through the playoff routes. It's always very complex. But at the end of the day, you want Nigeria to win these their 2 matches, and you know, do your own part and win these 2 matches convincingly. And having done your best, you can hope for the best. It's not you have done your best that you hope for the best. You know, if you have not done your best, don't hope for the best. Do your best and hope for the best. And so the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be missing key players in this match, like Olaino, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Rafael Oyedeka, due to injuries. And Erichel had to call up Porto defender Zaidu Sanusi, and he also called up Crystal Palace midfielder Christantos Uche to replace Cyril Dessers and Bright Osayi Samuel. And talking about Zaidu Sanusi, you know, he's been long played for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, so he's making his return after such a long time. And Christantos Uche made his debut for Nigeria this year in June. So here is the squad of the Super Eagles again. For the goalkeepers, we have Stanley Wabali, who plays for Chippa United in South Africa. There's Amos Obasoge, who plays for Singida Black Stars in Tanzania. There's Adebayo Adeleye, who plays for Bolos SC in Greece. Then for the defenders, we have the captain, William Trusekon, who plays for Al Kolut in Saudi Arabia. There's Calvin Bassey, who plays for Fulham SC in England. There's Oluwasebino Ajayi, who plays for Hull City in England. There's Zaidu Sanusi, who plays for FC Porto in Portugal. There's Bruno Oyemachi, who plays for Olympiacos in Greece. There's Benjamin Fredericks, who plays for Denda FC in Belgium. Then for the midfielders, we have Alex Iwobi, who plays for Fulham FC in England. There's Frank Onyeka, who plays for Brentford FC in England. There's Alassane Yusuf Abdullahi, who plays for New England Revolution in USA. There's Wilfred Ndidi, who plays for Besiktas FC in Turkey. And there's Christantos Uche, who plays for Crystal Palace in England. Then for the forwards, we have Ademola Lookman, who plays for There's Samuel Chukwueze, who plays for Fulham FC in England. There's Victor Osimhen, who plays for Galatasaray FC in Turkey. There's Moses Simon, who plays for Paris FC in France. Tolu Arokodare, who plays for Wolves in England. Terry Murphy, who plays for Nice in France. And then Akko Adams, who plays for Sevilla FC in Spain. And then, so these are the players. Now looking at the fixtures, some matches have been played already. Yeah, and earlier I made mention of the fact that Ghana defeated Central African Republic 5-0 yesterday, and Egypt defeated Djibouti 3-0 yesterday. So let me just read out the remaining fixtures. Libya defeated Cape Verde. Libya played a 3-3 draw, a 3-all draw with Cape Verde. Mauritius lost to Cameroon 2-0. Ethiopia defeated Guinea-Bissau 1-0. Eswatini played a 2-all draw with Angola. Chad lost to Mali 2-0. Comoros lost to Madagascar 2-1. Sierra Leone lost to Burkina Faso 1-0. Ghana defeated Central African Republic 5-0. Egypt defeated Djibouti 3-0. Zambia defeated Tanzania 1-0. Niger Republic defeated Congo 3-1. Burundi lost to Kenya 1-0. Liberia defeated Namibia 3-1. Mozambique lost to Guinea 2-1. Somalia lost to Algeria 3-0. And then the match between Malawi and Equatorial Guinea that was supposed to hold yesterday was cancelled. For the remaining matches, Botswana, before I came into the studio, Botswana was losing to Uganda. I don't know what the result is now, but they were losing to Uganda. Gambia was playing a 3-0 draw with Gabon. Togo were also losing to DR Congo 1-0. Ivory Coast were defeating Seychelles by 6-0. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria must really take a cue from all these teams. You know, can you imagine Ivory Coast scoring 6 goals? Nigeria in this World Cup qualifier have not scored beyond two goals in a match in this World Cup qualifier. Talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, that was against Rwanda. That was scored 2 goals. We've not scored beyond 2 goals in any of the matches in this World Cup qualifiers. Today, we want the narrative to change today. Look at Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast won their match yesterday. Okay, Ivory Coast are winning their match. I don't know what the score is now, but before I got into the studio, Ivory Coast were winning by 6-0. So the Super Eagles have to really take a cue from all these teams. Senegal defeated South Sudan 4-0. Can you imagine? Senegal won as well 4-0. Senegal might also be on their way to the World Cup as well. They won their match 4-0. Then by 5 p.m. Nigerian time today, Sao Tome and Principe will take on Tunisia, Rwanda will take on Benin, Lesotho will take on Nigeria, and Zimbabwe will take on South Africa. These are the matches that will be played today. Looking at Nigeria, our next match, as I said, it will be against Lesotho by 5 p.m. Nigeria time. After that, on October 13, that's on Tuesday, we'll take on Benin Republic in Nigeria here at the Godzilla Public Stadium in Uyo. But all we need the Super Eagles to do for us is to win today's match and win convincingly today. And after winning convincingly today, we can look forward to the match against Benin. You know, it's after they have won their match convincingly that we can hope for the best. So we have to face our own match and win first before looking at the results of the group. Before looking at the results in the group, before looking at other results, we have to face our own match and win first and address those issues where there are lapses, especially in the area of goal scoring. I mean, inability to score goals due to lack of creativity. You know, that's what has really been causing. That's what has really been stopping Nigeria to score those goals. You know, and then thank God Victor Osimhen is back in the team. Here is a player that really plays everything. Look at Victor Osimhen at the Nations Cup, at the last African Cup of Nations. You see Victor Osimhen playing in the defense, playing in the midfield, playing on the flanks, playing up front. You see him playing everywhere at the last Nations Cup. And one must really say that against South Africa, in the match we played against South Africa, we really missed them in that match, you know. Perhaps if they had scored that match, perhaps we would have defeated the Bafana of South Africa in that match. Because prior to that match, you know, with the way people were really talking that, we want to play against this formidable squad, Bafana. I mean, we expected something bigger, like a wider margin. But the match ended in a 1-1 draw. So that means that if a player like Osimhen had played in that match, probably would have made a difference in that kind of match. So thank God he's back in today's match. But the Super Eagles of Nigeria must really click. They must gel. You know, if Osimhen is not playing, we can also score. I mean, we have to find a way to play very well. We have to find a way to play very well, regardless of whether Osimhen plays or not. But thank God that he's going to be playing, and his addition in this squad is a plus to the squad. But we must find a way to score goals. We must really score goals. So as I said, South Africa's remaining matches. That South Africa will be playing against Zimbabwe today. It's a home match for Zimbabwe. Yeah, it's supposed to be a home match for Zimbabwe. So it's an away match for South Africa. So they'll be playing against Zimbabwe today. South Africa will also host Rwanda. That's on October 13. Then for Benin Republic, their remaining matches, Benin will play to Rwanda. They will go to Rwanda and play against Rwanda. That's an away match for Benin. Then after that, they will come to Nigeria here. Benin Republic will come to Nigeria here and play against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Don't forget that the first leg of the match between Benin and Rwanda ended 1-0 in favor of Benin. So this time around, they're going to be playing against Rwanda away from home. So, you know, when they hosted Rwanda, they defeated Rwanda 1-0. So this time around, Rwanda is hosting them. We'll see what happens in that match. So at the end of, by 7 p.m. today, or let's say by 7:30 p.m. today, these matches will have been concluded, and then by then we will have really known Nigerians' fate. As in, by then it will be getting clearer. Like our fate will be getting decided by then. You know, after today's match, by 7 p.m. tonight or 7:30 p.m. let's say, our fate should have really been known. Like it will be getting clearer. You know, it will be left to be seen whether Nigeria will be on their way to the World Cup. You know, by that time it will really be getting clearer whether we'll be on our way to the World Cup. Now, how did the Super Eagles of Nigeria even get to this stage? I'm going to really look at it briefly. How did we get to the stage of not having a destiny in our hands? In the World Cup qualifiers, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have played 8 matches. Our first match was against Lesotho. It was an home match where it was a 1-0 draw against Lesotho. Then our second match was against Zimbabwe, away from home, and we played a 1-0 draw. And against South Africa, against South Africa, we played in Nigeria here, and then it was a 1-0 draw. Don't forget that our first 3 matches in the World Cup qualifiers, now we played a 1-0 draw. We trailed in those matches. We had to come back. In those matches. You know, our opponents were the first to score against us. After they scored against us, we had to come back to equalize. In our first 3 matches in the World Cup qualifiers, we had to come back to equalize. We trailed in those matches. That's talking about our first 3 matches. And in our fourth match against Benin Republic, it was an away match as well. We were the first to score, and then Benin Republic had to score 2 backs. They had to score 2 back. Then in our match against, our 5th match was against Rwanda. It was an away match. We defeated Rwanda 2-0. That was our first victory. And when everybody was happy that, we defeated Rwanda, all we needed to do was come to Nigeria and defeat Zimbabwe. And the match ended in a 1-0 draw. Before we even scored, the Nigerians were already getting worried that won't the goal even come. With this, the goals were not coming in that match. Nigerians were already getting worried that the goals were not coming. And when the goal eventually came, it came in the 78th minute. It was Victor Osimhen that scored. And after he scored, what happened? What happened? Zimbabwe equalized, and they came to Nigeria to draw us in our country here in Nigeria. And in the 7th match, it was a match against Rwanda in Nigeria here. It was a 1-0 victory to Nigeria. But you know the way Nigeria failed in that match. It was not too much of a convincing result from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And in our 8th match, it was against Bafana when we played against them away from home, and the match ended in a 1-1 draw. South Africa were the first to score. It was actually an own goal by 3 seconds, and then Nigeria scored back through Calvin Bassey. It ended in a 1-1 draw. So that was how Nigeria got to this stage. The last time South Africa, talking about, excuse me, talking about South Africa, the last time they went to the World Cup was 2010. The last time they qualified for the World Cup was 2010. So this time around, they are second in the group. Although they have 14 points, they are just one goal difference lower to that of Benin Republic. Benin Republic has a goal difference of +3. Bafana has a goal difference of Benin Republic has a goal difference of +4. Bafana has a goal difference of +3. So it's just goal difference that separates Benin and Bafana of South Africa. The last time South Africa went to the World Cup was in 2010. They've not gone to the World Cup since that time. That's 15 years ago that they last went to the World Cup. So this time around, they really, they are second in the group. For the Super Eagles of Nigeria in this World Cup qualifiers, we've had 3 different coaches in the World Cup qualifiers. 3 different coaches. First, it started with Ose Pesero leading us. That was before the Nations Cup. He was in charge of the match. He was in charge of Nigeria's matches against Lesotho and against Zimbabwe. He was in charge of those 2 matches. So after the Nations Cup, he left, and then he left, and then Finidi George had to take over as the caretaker coach. He took over as the caretaker coach, and he was in charge of Nigeria's match against South Africa and Nigeria here that we played the 1-1 draw, and against Benin Republic that we lost to Benin by 2-1. So after that, he was relieved of his job, and we got a new coach by January this year in Eric Cho. And Eric Cho was in charge of Nigeria's match against Rwanda that we won 2-0 away from home, and also in charge of Nigeria's match against Zimbabwe and Nigeria here, and against Rwanda again that we defeated them 1-0, and also against South Africa that we played a 1-0 draw with them. So in the World Cup qualifiers, Eric Chell has been in charge of Nigeria. He has been in charge of Nigeria's 4 matches against Rwanda, against Zimbabwe, against Rwanda again, and against South Africa. So we've had 3 coaches in the course of these World Cup qualifiers: Ose Pesero, Finidi George, and Eric Chell. So, and then in the World Cup qualifiers, 8 are the players that have scored for Nigeria: Semi Ajayi, Kelechi Iheanacho, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Raphael Onyedika, Victor Osimhen, who has scored 2 goals. Okay, Victor Osimhen has scored 3 goals for Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers. Victor Osimhen has scored 3 goals. Tolu Arokodare, he has also scored. Tolu Arokodare scored against Rwanda when we defeated them 1-0 in Nigeria, and Calvin Bassey, who scored for Nigeria against South Africa. Once again, let me read out the goal scorers: Semi Ajayi, Kelechi Iheanacho, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Raphael Onyedika, Victor Osimhen, Tolu Arokodare, and Calvin Bassey. But talking about the World Cup qualifiers generally, Mohamed Salah of Egypt has the highest goals. He has scored 9 goals. He has the most goals, and he also scored 2 goals yesterday against Djibouti. He scored a brace. So that's talking about Mohamed Salah. So the top 2 teams in each group will qualify for the World Cup. So what happens if anything? The top 2 teams in the group will qualify automatically for the World Cup, and then the 4 best runners-up will go through playoff. And somebody was saying that the playoff is always a big thing, like the way. But then let me just read what will happen. The 4 best teams will go through playoffs. That's the CAF playoff. When they get to the CAF playoff, there will only be one winner in the CAF playoff. So the winner of the CAF playoff will go through the intercontinental, or should we say the interconfederation playoff, and then the intercontinental playoff, or the FIFA playoff tournament, will involve 6 teams: 1 from AFC, 1 from CAF, 1 from CONMEBOL, 1 from Oceania, and 2 from CONCACAF. And then at the end of the day, the last two will make it to the World Cup. So this is how it will go. When they get to the playoffs, for the FIFA playoffs. This is how it will go. The bottom 4, don't forget that 6 teams will go into the playoff. 6 teams altogether will enter the FIFA playoff. So when they get there, the bottom 4 teams in the FIFA World Rankings will be drawn into 2 single elimination matches, and the winners of those matches will advance to play the top 2 teams in 2 single elimination matches, and the winners will qualify for the World Cup. So if there's any team who is not making it through the normal route, like being the top, being the first in their group, they will have to go. If they are one of the 4 best runners up, they have to go through the playoffs, and going to the playoffs will mean that they will have to first go through the CAF playoff. The winner of the CAF playoff will now go to the FIFA playoff that will involve 6 teams, and eventually 2 teams will go from the FIFA playoff to the World Cup. And it's really a long thing. Anyway, it's really a kind of long thing. Looking at Nigeria's matches, I explained earlier. Let me look at against Lesotho. When we played against Lesotho and we drew the match by 1-1, Lesotho were the first to score in the 56th minute of that match before Semi Ajayi equalized for Nigeria in the 67th minute, and the match was played in Nigeria here. And then in our second match, Zimbabwe played the 1-1 draw with us here. Zimbabwe were the first. Sorry, in our second match, we played the 1-1 draw with Zimbabwe away from home. Zimbabwe were the first to score in the 26th minute before Kelechi Iheanacho equalized for Nigeria in the 67th minute. If you are just joining me, I'm just doing the preview of the match between Nigeria and Lesotho. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will take on Lesotho by 5 p.m. Nigerian time in no time from now, and it is a must-win match for Nigeria. If the Super Eagles of Nigeria must win this match. They not only have to win, but they have to win by scoring goals. They have to take a cue from the likes of Ghana, from the likes of Senegal, from the likes of Benin, from the likes of Ivory Coast, from the likes of Egypt, who have been scoring spectacular goals, who have been scoring massive goals in the World Cup qualifiers. So they have to score plenty goals today. They have to win and score plenty goals today to be in a good place. To be competitive for a place in the World Cup, for a place in their group in the 2026 World Cup. Because at the end of the day, it may come down to goal difference at the top of the group. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria must win convincingly today. Excuse me. I'm talking about the teams that have qualified for the World Cup already from Africa. Morocco have qualified. The first team to qualify from Africa, Morocco. Egypt have qualified. They qualified yesterday. Ghana have also qualified. Tunisia have qualified. And Ghana, the Black Stars of Ghana, have just 1 point. They should just draw their game. All they need to do is play a draw in one of the remaining 2 matches, and they're in the World Cup. So they have 1 more point to the World Cup. That's talking about Ghana. And then we have some teams that are yet to qualify, like the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Bafana, Benin are yet to qualify. But at the end of today, by tonight, already we should know what we should be able to get a clearer picture of what will be happening in Group C in our group. At the end of today, by 7 p.m. or 7:30 tonight, a clearer picture of what is happening in our group should have emerged after the teams that have played today's matches. So that's what I'm talking about. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have a match against Lesotho today by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And then the Super Eagles of Nigeria were the USA 94 World Cup, they were the France 98 World Cup, they were the Korea-Japan World Cup, they were the Korea-Japan World Cup, they were at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. That's talking about Super Eagles. They were the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. They were the World Cup in Russia in 2018. They missed out of the World Cup in Qatar in 2022. And now, we don't know. We really don't know now, but we pray that by the grace of God, they will qualify for the World Cup. So, they are on the verge of qualifying for the World Cup. Sorry, what am I saying? My producer is confusing me. But now, they are on the verge of nearly missing out on the World Cup. But it depends on how you want to look at it anyway. Some people are still very optimistic that we're going to go to the World Cup. But everything depends on the other results in the group. Because we have to win our matches today convincingly. Yes, we know that we have the task of winning today. We have to win today, not only winning this one, and the one against Benin that we play in Nigeria. We have to win that one too. So after doing that, we also have to depend on the result of the other matches. But then we are going to get a clear picture by today anyway, looking at what is going to happen in the match between South Africa and Zimbabwe. South Africa and Zimbabwe will also play by 5 p.m. today, and Benin and Rwanda will also play by 5 p.m. today. So these matches should go a long way in deciding what will happen in the group. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been to 6 World Cups. We've been to the World Cup 6 times, and then we missed out on the other one in Qatar. And then we pray that this time around, we don't know, but we just pray that this time around we'll find ourselves in the USA, Canada, and Mexico at the end of the day. But it's going to be an uphill task anyway. But Never say never in football. In football, it's not over until it is over. Never say never. I mean, we can't say, we can't conclude until it is over in this group. Never say never. It's not over until it is over. And when I started this program, I started with a documentary I watched about the Korea Japan World Cup. The Super Eagles of Nigeria were nearly missing out of that one too. They were nearly missing out of that World Cup to that Korea Japan. In fact, it was even tighter than this one because our opponents, I mean, our main opposition in that group had their own destiny in their hand. All they needed to do was to win their own match. And then we had a match to play at home. But whether we won that match, it didn't matter. In fact, if we won the match and Liberia won their own match, we were not going to go anywhere. But then at the end of the day, Liberia lost the match despite all the motivation. They had all the motivation in the world to win the match. Talking about Liberia in that particular Korea Japan World Cup, Liberia had all the motivation to win that World Cup. They had all the motivation in the world to win the World Cup. But then they lost. Did I say World Cup? Sorry. They had all the motivation to qualify for the World Cup. Sorry. They had all the motivation. All they needed to do was to just win their own match. You know, and it didn't matter whether the Super Eagles won their match or not. It didn't matter. What mattered was for them to win. But they did not win the match. They lost. And we won our own match. And as a result of that, we qualified for the World Cup. So if Nigeria could do that, then it's not Nigeria. If luck could smile on us, then, you know, luck can still smile on us this time around. So we can only hope for the best for Nigeria in these World Cup qualifiers. We can really hope for the best from our boys in these World Cup qualifiers. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria must do their part by winning today. Not only winning, but, you know, winning convincingly and playing very well. You understand? Because at the end of the day, if eventually we even qualify for the World Cup, we are going to be meeting the likes of Brazil, the likes of Argentina. We are going to be meeting formidable squads. Japan, that has already qualified for the World Cup. Let me read out the teams that have qualified for the World Cup. United States have qualified for the World Cup. Mexico have qualified. Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, Uruguay, Paraguay, Colombia, Japan, Iran, Uzbekistan, South Korea, Jordan, Australia, New Zealand, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt. All the teams I read are formidable. Take a look at the team like Argentina, very formidable. A team like Brazil, formidable. Ecuador, yes, is a South American country, but they're a formidable squad. You know the way they play their games. All these talk about Paraguay, Uruguay, Colombia, Ecuador, they are formidable squads. Japan from Asia, Iran too can be formidable. South Korea too formidable. So at the end of the day, if we eventually make it to the World Cup, you know, the way we have been playing in the way we have played in our last 8 matches should not be the way we go and play in the World Cup. Except we want it to be like the Flying Eagles. And even the Flying Eagles that lost to Argentina by 4-0, they still won part of the matches at the Under-20 World Cup. The Flying Eagles still won against Saudi Arabia 3-2. You know, they were not even disgraced except in the round of 16 that they encountered a comprehensive defeat to Argentina. But in the group stage, they were not disgraced. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that the Super Eagles of Nigeria must bring in their A game. They must step up their game today and open against Benin Republic so that eventually when they get to the World Cup, they will not be disgraced. They will play very well at the World Cup. But looking at the way we have played so far in our last 8 matches, if that's the kind of way we want to play at the World Cup, I mean, you know, that's really, the Super Eagles of Nigeria must really play very well. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I have to sign up now. Because the match will start very soon. So, I was talking about, I'm so sorry, it's a live program. And then when you have somebody that's really, I don't know, I don't do this alone actually. So at times my reaction should be somebody talking to me from the background. So as I was saying, the Super Eagles of Nigeria must bring in their A game. They must step up so that eventually when we qualify for the World Cup, we have a formidable squad. We put up a pleasant display at the World Cup. We will not have a dismal outing at the World Cup. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria must really up their game so that when we get to the World Cup, we do very well at the World Cup. So that's what I'm trying to say, that we have to up our game at the World Cup. So to be or not to be, with the Super Eagles of Nigeria make it to the World Cup, Egypt are true to the World Cup, Morocco are true to the World Cup, Tunisia are true to the World Cup, Ghana, the Black Stars of Ghana have 1 leg in to the World Cup. So at the end of tonight, do you think the Super Eagles of Nigeria will have any chance of progressing to the World Cup? Like, we should be able to get a clear picture of Group C by tonight. Do you think the Super Eagles of Nigeria will make it to the World Cup? You know, just, I mean, what's your take about today's games? We have so many games that will be played today. Already some matches have been played already. We've seen some matches being played already, you know. So we've seen some matches being played already. So what's your take about the match between Nigeria and Lesotho by 5 p.m. today? What's your take about that match? Nigeria and Lesotho. Already we saw Ghana yesterday defeating Central African Republic 5 goals to nil, scoring 5 goals and telling us that, hey, Nigeria, you can also do it. Just take a cue from us, you can do it. You can also score goals. Look at Ghana yesterday, scoring 5 goals, making us, playing delightful football and scoring 5 goals against Central African Republic. And also Egypt scoring 3 goals against Djibouti. Senegal defeating South Sudan 4-0. If all these things could do it, then Nigeria can also do it. I have to sign out now. Thank you so much for joining me. I have to sign out now. Thank you so much. It's your girl Toxie. Thank you. Wishing the Super Eagles of Nigeria all the best in this match. Thank you so much.
So everything is not cool because